Hello, eRank. Welcome to another live Q&A with me, Pam Duthie, and her, Starla Moore, who's been freaking me because I can hear you going, I don't have sound.
Yeah, well, I think that I have my speakers off to everything but you. So, because I usually go and mute them all so that I don't have all of the stream volumes coming in at once, but it's just you.
Yep.
We're good.
Oh, well, fair enough. That's how it should be. Just listen to me.
Yes, only Pam. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Hopefully over on YouTube, we don't get disconnected like we did last week. We did kind of lose you guys for some reason, but what I'm going to do in the event that the stream stops on YouTube, I'm just going to I'm going to go ahead and just paste the link to our Facebook group where the stream will continue in the event that YouTube gets cut off. Hopefully it's good though. That doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, that was an absolute pain because we had a great stream going there, but then YouTube or somebody decided to stop it.
Yes.
And I hope that doesn't happen today because we have permission to talk about loads of new stuff. So, yeah.
Yes. And we don't have a whole lot of viewers on yet. Oh, there's 23 over on YouTube. So we'll give it a few minutes before we dive into the reveals. But this is a really great day for you guys to be on because it's not very often that we get permission to show you, super cool, mysterious, fun tools. So yeah.
I know. And usually we're told about these so much in advance and then told don't talk about them. And it seems like that there's three things we can share today. And really we found out about them and then we're almost immediately told we can share them. It's so cool.
Yes. Well, these were very, very they didn't take very long for our team to actually roll out and test to make sure that they were functional. So, and some of you guys might be testing some of them as well. I saw lots and lots of eRank users jumping in on that beta testing.
Yeah, that looked like it was pretty popular, which I totally understand why. So I think some of you will very much know one of the things we're going to talk about. If you follow this YouTube channel, you might know a second, but the third one I think is just brand new today. So we've got at least one secret.
Awesome. Well, in the meantime, we only had 3 questions submitted on our Wednesday post. For those of you who are watching on YouTube or if you're watching the replay and you can never seem to make it to these lives, if you want to get your questions in a day early, that way you can always, catch the answer to your question during the replay. Down in the eRank group in the video description, if you're watching on YouTube, there is a link to join where you can submit your question a day early in the pinned post that is at the top of the group wall every Wednesday. So today we've got 3 questions there. They get to cut the line a little bit, and then we will maybe give you guys a teaser of the new awesome tools that we have to share, and then you guys can start posting your questions in the chat. So first one is from Anna. Oh, she said, if we want an exact match for a keyword in our title that's too long to be put together in tags, like a couple of words that add up to more than 20 characters, what's the best way to use it in tags? I watch videos on the topic, but they exact match a keyword that's under 20 characters, which, what's funny is I was literally making a plan sometime next month I was like getting my script ready to do this exact video topic because we get this question so frequently.
Yeah, we do. And that's also why yesterday in this YouTube channel, I just released a video on this very exact subject.
Well, then I don't need to do a video if you
Oh,
already.
I'm sure people want to hear your take as well, definitely.
Let me find the link that way. The one just called Etsy tags?
Yep, I made it simple.
Awesome. I'm going to go ahead and share that in the chat for you guys, both on Facebook and YouTube, so you can watch it. But the short answer is that you have to split it up. Etsy will still broad match you for those terms. I know that it's a pain in the butt, but the thing is, it's not like your competitors have any extra advantage because they have to do the same thing. So they're going to be broad matching for those terms as well. Just split them up in the way that makes the most sense. I always use the example of my skeleton key necklaces that I used to sell on Etsy a few years ago. If I had to break up skeleton key necklace, I would break it up at skeleton key and necklace, because it wouldn't make sense to break it up with skeleton and key necklace because I'm not selling a skeleton. I don't need to exact match for skeleton and key necklace. I think that it would be better to have the exact match for skeleton key. So just, break it up in a way that makes the most sense. Either way, you will broad match for those singular tags on their own, whatever phrases are in them. And you will broad match for whatever it was that you truly wanted to be known for. And as long as you've also got that term in your title, if it's something that you consider to be your superstar keyword, the one that you mostly want to be known for, you're still going to be sending really strong signals to Etsy that, hey, this is what I'm all about. This is what I want to be found for.
Absolutely. I mean, there are sometimes you can break up these longer long tail keywords into little bite-sized keywords. As Starla, like, you could have something like skeleton jewelry and key necklace. They might be a couple of tags, and that would still work. I was gonna say there's no wrong way to do it, but I did actually include this in the video because one person asked me about this, and when we said split up your tags, she split up your words into 2 tags. She'd literally split it right down the middle, like right down the middle of a word. So you can't do that. You have to break it up into full full words. But yeah, there's no wrong way, just so long as all the words in that keyword are somewhere in your tags. Etsy will figure it out.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. I see that we have a lot of questions coming into the YouTube chat. So we will get to you guys here in just a minute. If you don't mind being patient for a second, because we really want to show you the new tools that we're working
Exciting
on.
stuff. Yes.
We got 2 more cut and line questions though. Carrie said, when creating tags and titles, does it matter how I spell words with special characters such as macrame versus macrame, which there's no way for me to really express that there's a little
yes, with a little accent.
the little thingy.
Yeah, it depends. That's a tricky one because we won't always necessarily see them on tools and things. But if you do see on eRank that all your customers are searching one way, do it one way. I'm not sure if your shop is in English, if you can use all those characters though. So if you can't use the character, then you can't.
Yeah. Give it a quick look in eRank and see how your what is the majority searching for. Compare keywords would be a great tool to use to kind of get a side-by-side comparison if you want to look at them. But my gut is telling me that since Etsy can identify things like plurals and the difference between the like British spellings and color with a U versus color with OR and jewelry versus jewelry. Etsy knows the difference. So I'm going to just assume, speculating here, that they're going to see those terms as the same way. But even with plurals and things, we still usually recommend that you choose the one that more Etsy shoppers are actually using. And that's where things like the eRank Compare Keywords tool will come into play. That way you can see exactly which one is more preferred by your actual Etsy shoppers.
Yeah. Also, I just want to say it's funny that you pronounce our spelling slightly different, because whenever I read the American spelling of words, in my head, I read it differently. Like color and color is different in my head. I can't do it with my voice, but yeah.
Well, I think that it's the same. Like when like there, and there, they sound the same, and it makes it really hard for non-English speakers to learn English. But there, and there all mean totally different things. So I think you're right. I think that you know what? If there is a U in the word, it gets a British accent.
Oh, fancy.
Yeah. All right. We've got one more cut and line question. Then we're going to give you guys a quick little demo of the new tools. And then we're going to get onto all of these questions that I see piling up over on YouTube. So thanks for everybody who's in there being patient. Abigail said, it used to be if you posted a link to an Etsy listing from your own website, there would not be ads from your competitors on that page. Is this true? I seem to get ads from whatever link I use to test this. Maybe my IP is gummed up. I think Pinterest gives the ads, but what about our own site or a link tree? I would like to link to my Etsy listing without competitor listings showing, if that's still possible.
I did just check. In eRank, we did. It's listings links, where you can get the links for all your listings. It's in the name, and that is just the link name that stops at the ID number. And I checked on them, and they are taking me to my listing without showing the ads. So perhaps that's still working, but that was literally just before we came on. I just checked, and it looked right. So I don't know. So check that if you don't do the full long URL, but it's, what is it, etsy.com listings / ID number,
Yeah.
basically. So yeah, you can take the link from eRank, but there's not much you can do generally because Etsy decides how it wants to show things.
Yeah.
Which,
And they change it up all the time.
exactly. I mean, it sounds like a pain, but there's only one of me sharing my link, but every one of my competitors, if I'm showing up in the stuff they're sharing as well, it's actually, that sounds good to me.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. What if people who are looking at your competitors are seeing you? So you gotta turn the tables and think maybe it's helping you to get a little bit of exposure that you wouldn't normally get. You never know.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. That's all the questions that were submitted early. We have quite a few questions in the YouTube chat. We will get to you guys in just a moment, but we have some awesome, awesome new things to share that are coming to eRank. You guys are going to be the first to see them. Um, Pam said that there's three things. Three things?
There's 3 things, yep.
I only know about one thing.
Right, well, I'll do this first. I'm gonna have to
Okay.
shuffle. I think it,
Shuffle, shuffle,
right, that
shuffle.
worked, yep.
There we go.
Give me a yell if this stops working. So 2 of the things are in the competitor sales tool. If you don't know how to get there, I'm just checking because my screen shrunk so it looks good. If you don't know how to get there, well, we won't worry about that, but it's competition sales. And the first thing is for pro and expert users. You might see a couple of things different on my screen. So pro and expert users should now see we have 30-day sales for the competitors as well. So you've got the individual daily sales, you've got the cumulative 7-day sales, and we now have 30-day sales. That was a thing that was asked for by you guys. So Anthony really is looking for feedback from this, what you think of it, and also wants to thank you all for coming up with the ideas, because it's your ideas that get us to do these things. So that's the first one. Second, that was just released today. I don't think anybody's mentioned this yet. Can you see these little colors here? So
Yeah, kind of.
yeah, people are always wanting different ways to sort their competitors. We added the notes so you can like group people together, but we've now also added color flags so you can click on it and pick a color. So you could
Ah,
group people together like that, and then if you click on the top of the column twice, it groups them by what you've colored them as.
ooh, I
So
would do like fierce competitors in red, and friends that I just keep an eye on for the heck of it. I'd give them green because they're safe, and green's a safe color.
oh yeah, there you go. So yeah, let us know, guys, how you're gonna color yours. I hadn't even thought of that, but that's cool. Yeah. Hopefully that's just a nice little thing, because it's difficult to figure out ways to make these better without making them so busy that you can't use them. So that's the first 2 in the one place, and then we're going for the one that Starla knows about. A few of you know about for sure, because quite a few you signed up for the beta as
Yeah,
well.
this one is magical because it was what, the week before last. Yes, the week before last, I was sitting in a meeting with Anthony talking about this, and then not even like 3 days later, no, it was last week, so less than a week, they were able to get this tool together and rolling.
Yeah, it's very cool. as you can see, use AI to enhance your Etsy listings. So you want to put a short description here. Now, I like to, you'll see what this is, but I'll do it first of all. I like to add like your superstar keywords for your listing. So one thing that I've been looking at, this is where I spell badly.
Just 1 second.
I'm trying to think of another keyword that I've got. So in the SEO series that we're doing on this YouTube channel, this is just some keywords that we've discovered. So I thought I'd keep going with that, but I can't think of anything just now anyway.
I was going to give them a color or something.
Oh yeah, that would have been good. Yep. But anyway, so put in a few keywords or describe your item. Just give it a little bit of something about your item. And then this is going in, it's AI powered. You've probably, if you've been playing around with these kind of things, you've probably got an idea of this. So what this gives you, some title ideas, some description ideas, and some tag ideas. But we will be there's a whole load of warnings we have to give you with this as well. But it gives you some good ideas. For and it's been really, I think, pretty cool here for what I put in: lesbian earrings and mushroom earrings. It's coming up with LGBT pride jewelry and, was it rainbow mushroom lesbian earrings? It's brought up a color for us. So it gives you a few ideas for titles, and then it gives you an idea for descriptions. Now, I find this really helpful, but don't just rely on what AIs tell you for a description. You've got to go in there and tweak it yourself. But it means if you're making a brand new listing, you don't just have a blank page to deal with. I'm trying to see if it's come up with any terrible thing. So here it's saying at the bottom here, style meets love in these unique lesbian love mushroom drop earrings. Now that's quite cool, but if you had if the earrings aren't drop earrings, you have to go in and make sure that it is actually what your item is, because it goes off on its little own flight of fancies. In fact, it's done it in the whole, these mushroom stud earrings, and then it's talking about drop earrings, and yeah, so you have to check it, but it gives you an idea, and it's pretty helpful. Oh yeah, people are asking where you can get this. This is for the beta testers. Anthony put a post in the Facebook group for how you can join in and be a beta tester, because I think we're still looking for some more people for this. And we definitely, as this is in beta, so we definitely want your feedback on this. And here it gives some tag ideas. Going to give you a massive warning here that this is just the AI thinking up some ideas. This is not any kind of proven decent tags. It's just giving you some ideas. So you then want to take it to the tools and check if they're actually any good, basically. Because I have found it gives some good ideas, but go to the keyword tool and see which of them are any good. Oh, people are saying frozen on Facebook, I think.
No, it's not frozen. I've got it up right now.
Oh, weird. That just came up at the side. No. Oh well. Anything you want to play about with in that, Starla?
No, I think that for those of you who are beta testing, just don't be afraid to give feedback if you notice anything that you don't like. I know that it can feel like you're being nitpicky, but really that's the type of feedback that Anthony needs to see. So if you do have feedback, I mean, you can always submit it via the little blue icon in the bottom right corner, right bottom right hand corner of the eRank screen when you're logged in, or you can post it over in the eRank group, because Anthony is in there. And just let us know what you're thinking. And if you have any ideas for how we can make the tool better, or things that you wish it had, feel free to add those as well.
Yeah.
We can't promise that they'll be possible, but we always like to hear it.
Yeah, it's definitely, this is very much beta, but the whole AI things is very much brand new. So we need all the feedback we can. I had like a half-hour play on this tool, and I think I sent Anthony an entire page full of ideas. So yeah, let them know. And doesn't matter how flight of fancy they sound. The team are actually really clever at making stuff happen. So ask for what you think will help, and yeah, we'll see. But that's our exciting news.
Yeah, and Aldrich in the chat said it would be easier to send an email about these updates. The thing is, it hasn't rolled out yet. Once it's a tool and it's available to everybody, we will send an update, but it would be pointless for us to send an update about a beta test to, say, 600,000 email contacts when we can only have a very select few enter, because then what that does is it bogs down our email inbox and it makes it impossible for our support team to be able to provide support, because everybody is going to want access to it. So posting in the Facebook group is a more closed community where feedback can actually be submitted. I do see where you're coming from, but we will definitely be updating everybody once it is available to everyone. Right now, we're just really in that feedback stage.
I think Anthony did say, I haven't checked, but I think he said you can also apply for beta testing this through the help button on eRank. So we're letting you know now here. Can someone from the Facebook group let me know if that was how you did it? I think from the feedback button, if you go in there, Anthony's given the option to request access for this beta test. But it's pretty good just now in that it does what the AIs do. You just have to be sensible with it. It's there as a tool to help. It's not doing your SEO for you. You still have to do your own SEO.
Yeah.
So I don't see why we wouldn't be releasing that to the general public at some point pretty soon, because it seems to be working fine. And then all your ideas could be going into version 2. But that's not from Anthony. That's just me saying, because Anthony gets super excited by these tools and he says, yeah, we'll release it in a couple of weeks. And then you're waking up and you go, you released it, didn't you, Anthony? And he's like, yeah. Got excited.
I'm gonna suspect that it'll be available within a week to everybody. It seems to be doing just fine.
I'll be testing it tomorrow.
Oh yeah, and Mr. Moore, he also is our he's one of our testers, but he's our data analyst, and he's going to be kind of stressing it out, putting it to the test, manipulating it, trying to see if he can break it. And as long as he can't break it, then we know it's good.
Exactly. Well, that's the best thing beta testers can do as well. If you can get in there and break it and let us know how you broke it.
Yes. That way we can fix it and make sure it doesn't get broke again.
Absolutely. Yes.
All right. So thanks to everybody in the chat for being patient. I know it's been a while, but we really wanted to show off these tools. That way you guys could give some feedback. So thanks to everybody who did. Lester, at the beginning of the chat, you had asked a question. Hopefully you're still here. But he said, can you talk about the difference between the keyword tool and keyword explorer? Ooh, Pam, this is your favorite.
Yeah. This has changed over the years from what it used to be. Because the keyword explorer used to be my favorite tool, but now the keyword tool is my favorite tool. But yeah, roughly the keyword tool is for doing keyword research. You've got for doing keyword research on Etsy, you're going to get an analysis of the top 100 ranking listings on Etsy for the keyword you've looked for. You're going to see the search volume data there for multiple countries. You get hundreds of data and related keywords and the related tags and the related keywords. So there's a whole load of data there. And I think everybody on eRank should be using the keyword tool. It's the best tool. Keyword Explorer is actually now, you get a lot of the data on like search volumes and everything else, but it's more as well, you can see other marketplaces. That's what we've done with the Keyword Explorer. So if you're wanting to see how a keyword's doing on Amazon or something, we've added some data there. So it's fun to play around with. So that's for if you're selling on other marketplaces or you want to keep up with the trends. It's kind of Jan, our trends person, she's always saying, oh, this is up and coming on Pinterest. And then you see it explode on Etsy a little while later. So it's handy.
Yeah, I will admit, when we very first, started our YouTube journey and teaching about eRank, and even before I was hired by eRank, I mean, the Keyword Explorer, that was my go-to. I told everybody, like, use Keyword Explorer. But now, really, the keyword tool is the only thing I use. I don't even remember the last time I popped the Keyword Explorer open.
Yeah, I'm literally in my head just going, what if we've got something different than the Keyword Explorer? But yeah, that's that's it. It's different marketplaces.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Aldrich had asked, I'm tongue-tied today. Sorry, guys. I can see that Etsy is showing my products for random words. For example, my products are shown for yin and yang, but none of my products have this design and never use these words. Any idea why? That is very common.
Yeah. And what that can basically be, you'll find it with any website, YouTube, everything. What happens when they're testing a product? Sounds like Etsy personnel are doing something, but when any website, when any search engine is testing a product, it's looking like there's maybe not many products or many decent products for yin and yang, and they're not 100% sure what your item is, so they show it up. And if customers click on it, it doesn't matter if it's in your keywords or not. If customers are clicking, then the algorithm will go, hey, he's pretty good for yin and yang. If they don't click on it, then they'll go, yeah, we messed up. But it doesn't hurt your listing in any way. It's just the algorithm. It's not got enough people to show. It doesn't really know what's going on. So it's just testing something. But it should generally only be a small number. You want to see my YouTube search in the first day, the terms that come up is crazy.
I get knee replacement surgery a lot.
Yeah.
I teach
That's clear.
Etsy
Yeah, I totally see why you're relevant for that.
I don't think I've ever talked about knees on my channel, or my knees do hurt a lot. That's why I'm, doing my standing desk right now, trying to move around. But I definitely don't teach anything about knee replacement surgery. So yeah, just don't obsess over it. Look for the keywords that are actually useful to you, and roll your eyes at the other ones. So Valerie has a two-part question. She said, how long do I give a listing after revising the SEOs? I love the SEOs and keywords. I've seen a day to a month. Is this correct?
No.
Neither of those are correct. I mean, there is really no right or wrong, but in terms of best practices, neither of those is enough time for you to actually be able to accurately test whether or not those keywords are helping your listing. Etsy tells us that it can take them a period of 60 to 90 days, anywhere in between that 60 to 90, for them to, for one, recognize what you want to be known for. A lot of people get confused and they think that means that they're not ranking in search. You're ranking immediately. You might not be ranking good, but you are ranking somewhere. You're out there. But when you list something new on Etsy, Etsy's taking that listing and they're moving it all around and they're showing it to these people and that people, and they're seeing what keywords people are, if they've clicked the listing, what keywords brought them to that listing. If they're doing all of these tests to see, is this listing interesting to people? And if so, who specifically should we show this listing, to more of, to more people? And it takes them a bit of time to do that. And there are always, sellers who go in and they change their keywords every single day. And all you're doing at that point is confusing Etsy. You're not giving them enough time to analyze traffic patterns, decide what you want to be known for, and decide where you need to be put and who you need to be shown to. So it would be better to just kind of, make your changes and then let it sit and see how it does. And the eRank track changes tool, I think it's in our listing tools tab, right?
Yep. Uh-huh.
Yeah. That tool is great. Turn it on maybe like a week before you make your changes, just to see like what your views, favorites, and sales look like before making changes. It will track exactly when you made the changes and highlight the changes that you've made, and then monitor it for that 60 to 90 days afterwards. And then you'll be able to see exactly what those changes did to your views, favorites, and sales. That way you can decide for yourself, was this a good change? Was this a bad change? Should I change it back to how it was before? And you'll be able to see exactly what it looked like before you changed it, so that if you made a change that you don't like, you can always go and, basically copy and paste like your old title back into your listing, and, be able to kind of start over.
Yeah, I'm literally shocked that anyone's given the advice to wait a day before. The only thing I would be doing within the first day is use something like eRank's rank checker to see if you're actually ranking in search for the keywords you aimed for, because that just gives you an idea of what's going on. But don't be touching the listing. Even a month, I would say, if a shop's getting thousands of views, if generally a shop, when they release a new listing, gets thousands of views every day, they could maybe get enough data in a month to decide if that listing's not doing well compared to the rest. The rest of us, no way. And at this time of the year, where most of us are quite quiet as well, you're just not getting enough data to know anything. Look, it's 20 cents. List the listing or change the listing. Go on and do something else. Literally, unless you've got a super busy shop, I would be coming back in January and looking at all the stuff that you did. That's generally my time frame. It's like I do stuff. I'm going in and looking at my stats every now and again in a big picture way to see what keywords are working, but I don't check things till January because it's not had a chance to see, like, at the proper busy period.
Yeah. All right.
So I can tell that Starla's standing here because she started to bob like a policeman now.
I forget that my desk is a standing desk, so I'm trying to actually utilize it, because standing desks are expensive, and I had my health in mind when I purchased it, and then I just sit at it all the time.
Yeah, it's a good idea. I want one, but
her part 2 is it wise to wait 4 weeks before touching that listing again? Well, we pretty much answered that. 60 to 90 days. 4 weeks is still, again, that's unless you made a change and like it tanked your listing really bad, and you want to fix it, then like that would be okay. But 4 weeks just isn't a long enough test period. So
yeah.
Gerald, hello Gerald. Gerald said, if wanting to make changes in a listing, what are your thoughts on copying the existing listing and making the changes, then see which one does better? A/B split testing. We encourage it.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. It's really difficult to compare things because if your original listing has had loads of views and sales, it's got a better history with Etsy. What I tend to do for actual real A/B split testing is I would copy it twice and have two different things with brand new listings. If your old listing has had some good sales history, if it hasn't had much of sales history, then yeah, they'll probably be on a level playing field. But absolutely copying it.
Yeah, and that can save you, time as well if you're making, new listings that are kind of similar. That way you don't have to start from scratch. I mean, sometimes it's easier to just copy and make the changes that you need to make to, if you're just changing something like the color or the size of something. But Cinnamon Chances in the chat said, I guess you don't want people to know about the listing helper link because I'm trying to post it and my link isn't working. There's two reasons. One, it's not available to everybody. If you've got a beta access link, please don't share it. Two, YouTube blocks links. So it's not us, it's YouTube. But please don't share it because it's a beta access. And if you've been granted that, that is just for you. And I don't think that anybody else would even be able to use it.
I don't think it would work. Anthony would have to put the people into the beta testing thing. So yeah. I'm pretty sure if you go to the help feedback button on the bottom right of eRank, I'm sure Anthony said you can apply for it there.
Yeah. All right. Lester had asked, I've noticed in some listings sellers will stack together at the bottom of the list, or stack tags together at the bottom of the listing. Does that enhance the listing's SEO? This is akin to back in the day when we would all copy our listing title and paste it in our Etsy descriptions before we knew better. Basically, what they're trying to do is they're taking the whole, Etsy now looks at descriptions, which was an update last year that they made. They're taking that too literally. From everything that we've tested over at eRank, the weight that keywords hold in descriptions is not that strong to begin with. We've run numerous tests. It's just not, it's not very strong. And Etsy's really only using that description to verify, when they see what you want to be known for in your title, and they see what you want to be known for in your tags, and they see what you want to be known for in your attributes. And then they see it one more time, maybe your superstar keywords sprinkled naturally in a sentence in your descriptions. It's just further helping Etsy to understand what you want to be known for. But trying to game the system by shoving a bunch of keywords in your description is not necessary. You don't have to try to get all of your tags down in your description. Not only is it a waste of time, but it looks really weird to your shoppers. So it sounds like they're taking something way too literally. It's not good practice.
It's an old way of doing things. And Etsy, as soon as they list it, I think I was doing the Etsy shop camp, so I was dealing with it. I was lucky enough to be in with the Etsy SEO team when they released this, and they literally said, "Don't do that." And on top of that, Google says hell no to doing that. Google, most of us probably don't have our listings ranking in Google, but that just makes it less likely because Google hates that.
They hate repetition. They hate seeing keyword stuffing.
Yeah. Yeah, Google hates keyword stuffing. Google hates anything attempting to game the system, and they're smarter than us. And they've seen it all with all of us trying to do it in the past. So, yeah.
All right. Let's see. Hannah asked, if we use a link tree on our social media, does it mask where our traffic is coming from on Etsy/eRank? It seems like my Instagram views are now showing up as direct traffic. I believe that I don't believe that because it wouldn't be considered coming from Instagram if you're using a link tree, because they're not. It's not Instagram where they're accessing your shop. It's Instagram, and then there's like a midpoint, which is your link tree, and then it is to your shop.
But it doesn't matter if they're getting to your shop.
Yeah, they're getting there.
Yeah, it's not going to hurt you. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Sorry, guys, I lost the chat. Okay. Lester said, we already read that one. Let's see. I had earrings. Oh, sorry, Hannah. I had earrings that I had named Lulu Beans after my cat. I was showing up for LL Bean on Etsy. I changed the name. Yeah, that was, you never know what the copyright gods are going to think, even though it's totally just a mistake by Etsy.
Yeah, well, I mean, hopefully, if anyone, if you didn't have the LL Beans in your title and tags and everything, you wouldn't get hit with copyright for it. But yeah, it's one of those things. Lulu Beans sounds so cute.
All right. Let's see. I'm just a girl. Hello, just a girl. For someone who is going to launch their shop soon, would you recommend posting a bunch of listings at once, like 10 plus, or saying 1 to 2 per day? They can't sell unless they're listed. Just get them listed. It doesn't really matter. Everyone says like, oh, list an item every day. That's what the algorithm wants. Etsy has never said that. They said that they like to see shops who are active and who are doing good and who are, keeping their shop fresh and new. And, they've taken out their Christmas shipping deadlines from their shop announcement. You don't need to just pile in listings every day. I've had sellers who have contacted me stressing out, I couldn't post a listing today. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, I hate that. I hate those things where people really think I've got to post 60 things to this social media and 20 things to this, and then I've got to. You don't. you, you don't. And definitely not. Etsy's not counting it, but yeah, brand new shop, especially if you have any kind of following, you're telling your friends and family, I'm just about to open my shop. It would be cool if on the day it opened, they're able to look and see a few things.
All right. Aldrich asked that combination of words does not roll off my tongue well. Do renewed listings still get a bump in Etsy search?
Yes, but it's not a good SEO strategy. I don't want to just say yes. They absolutely do, but if you keep on doing it and your listing isn't doing very well, then the Etsy algorithm's gonna start to learn that your listing isn't good for it, and your bump will get less and less, basically.
Yeah, just think about it like this. Okay, you've got your listing, and maybe you make some big changes to your title, and you want Etsy to notice it a little faster, so you pay that 20 cents and you renew it. That's fine. But then there are these sellers, and there are still coaches who recommend that you go in and you pay the 20 cents every single day to renew all of your items so that you can continuously ride that bump. But what happens if that is the point in time when Etsy is looking at your listing and analyzing it and trying to decide who they should be showing it to? Imagine what Etsy is thinking or what the algorithm is thinking when they see that listing continuously being renewed, but it's not selling. What that's telling Etsy is that even though we're showing this listing to all of these people and we are doing our best to try to figure out where it belongs, it's still not selling. We need to show it to less people because obviously this is not interesting. This is not what people want to buy. And then, as Pam said, it's going to fall lower and lower and lower because they're going to be giving those opportunities to sellers who are actually following Etsy's best practices and who have actually given that listing time to accumulate a listing quality score. You're really shooting yourself in the foot. And unfortunately, there are still big YouTubers who recommend going in every day and renewing all of your listings, but it's not a good strategy.
I can't believe they're still doing it. Do you know the last time that was an actual working strategy on Etsy?
Like
I
8
can
years
tell you
ago.
the date. 2010. In
2010.
2010, Etsy changed the algorithm from recency to relevancy. So that's when it stopped working. So
Wow.
13 years. That's 13 years out of date advice.
I don't often feel old, but I suddenly feel old. Oh man.
Yeah,
All
that
right.
just gets worse, Starla, as time goes on.
Oh no. I thought your name was Mikey, but it's Imky.
Oh, yeah, I was reading Mikey too.
Let's see. Thanks for answering all the questions. One more, if you don't mind. I'm an expert eRank user. I assume you mean you've got an expert plan, or maybe you're just an expert. I am an expert at eRank. Who would be the person to talk to if I would like to see more than 100 sellers of the day, like 200 to 300 top sellers of the day? Anthony Wolf would be the person to talk to, but I'm telling you now that that's probably not going to be a possibility, even with an expert plan, because we do have to put caps on things for website efficiency. We have to be able to make sure that because the more things that you're seeing on a screen, the slower things are going to load. And when it comes to things like, what are you saying? I'm assuming you mean like top sellers, right? Top sellers of the day. Top sellers.
Yeah, I assume that's the top sellers,
Yeah.
who sold the most today, kind of thing.
So that's going to be pulling directly from Etsy's API, and that's not something that we can't stress that system too much. And I believe that it took us a long time to even introduce that expert plan due to some of the limitations that we had just getting the website to function. You can always reach out to support and have them push the message to him, but I just don't think that it's something that would be possible for us.
Yeah, hit the button on the bottom right-hand side and let us know, because there are sometimes there's been plenty of things that we've all heard and we're like, that won't be possible, but I'll mention it to Anthony and he's in a good mood that day. So you never know what's possible. And things change depending on what Etsy does with the API and the speeds of all that and everything. So it could be in his brain for the future. So definitely any ideas, pass them on to Anthony.
Absolutely. All right. Oh, our Gilligan. Hold on a minute. I always say our Gilligan. She's mine and Mark's Gilligan. Is it normal that I have 319 listings and I'm only showing ranking for 13 keywords, even though I have 235 unique tags used in one of my shops and 271 listings with 517 unique tags used in another?
What do you mean by showing ranking? Do you just mean spotted on Etsy? Or have you gone through all your tags? And yeah.
She said, I'm ranking for 20 listings in the second shop mentioned, despite having unique keywords. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily even see it as a bad thing if you're being seen for awesome keywords. And I think that honestly, less is more if you are dominant in the less. For example, Planner Kate, I'm sure that she is known for, planner related terms, and she's probably known for a few awesome planner related terms. And I'm sure that there are a couple other terms that she gets recognized for, but she dominates planner. So it doesn't really matter as much that she's not known, for a ton of terms. It's the fact that she's absolutely dominated the terms that she wants to be known for.
Yeah.
It is spotted on Etsy.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Well, spotted on Etsy is only looking at the terms you've given it and that we have on our database. We actually have a video dropping. I've scheduled it. I can't remember for when, but we have a video dropping on how many items you should have ranking on spotted on Etsy. So you're in the YouTube, so keep following the YouTube channel. But the secret is that there's no right number. It's quality, because you can, yeah, basically I would say that majority of shops don't rank for many of their tags.
Oh yeah.
That's how it works. The more important question is, are you getting good sales? If things are going well, it's good. Don't fix it. If things aren't going well, then you can look at some of the keywords you're using. Are they maybe too competitive, or are they not searched for enough, and just tweak things. But yeah, you're not going to rank for every single keyword. And you are going to rank for keywords you hadn't thought of, like yin and yang, and things happen.
All right. We've got about 10 minutes. I think we'll actually be able to get through the rest of the questions, though. I was worried there for a minute, but we seem to be nailing them out today. Angelia asked, what are your guys' thoughts of keyword stuffing the title, not the description? Test and experiment. Honestly, Etsy tells us that keyword stuff titles are, they're seen as being kind of messy, and they kind of remind you of like an Amazon listing or an eBay store to your customers. In terms of the algorithm, it doesn't really care either way. It's just looking at the keywords that you're using. It's really about your target audience. So in some audiences, they're not going to care if you have a big long title. That's why you see lots of the sellers in the top sellers page on eRank. They use big long titles.
Oh, we lost to Starla. Hopefully she'll be back in a minute. But yeah, she actually, in this YouTube channel, I just released a video on titles and talked about keyword stuffing and everything. But as Starla says, experiment with it. I think she'll be back in a minute. Here she comes. Experiment. If you find you're not ranking for the keywords that you think you want to, you could try cutting down the number of keywords in your title and see if that helps. If you're not getting enough views or you're ranking really well, maybe add more keywords. As Starla says, some of the top stores do keyword stuff, and they totally can because they're like top stores. They're doing well. welcome back. Oh, no, she's silent. Did we silence Starla?
I got it.
Yay, back again.
Honey, our dog is having a nightmare back there, and she's like,
oh, bless.
She's being so loud. I'm going to give you a question, and then I'm going to go wake her up. She's breathing so loud. Wake up, Amy. She's having a nightmare.
Bless.
All right.
Here.
All right.
My last dog would sleep howl. It was the saddest. It sounded like he was sobbing. He'd be like, oh, 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 oh. And he'd sleep, and he'd like, oh.
She said she thought she was running in her sleep. She was panting. Valerie asked, oh, why does my grade A listing have a visibility score of 29%? I put in all the best keywords I can find in the title, tags, and description. It's a leather belt, so competition is high. What can I do?
Yeah, I think we just made a video about this as well. I can't remember if it's released yet. I have a real problem that I've been making a lot of videos and I can't remember what they are. But grade A is only telling you it's good. Well done. Grade A means that you're following the best practices. And if you're saying you found decent tags, you believe you found decent keywords and you've put them in the title and the tags, that's all good. But that's only the start of the thing. You then have to go and look, are you ranking for those keywords? I would use the rank checker, use the keyword tool to have a look and see what's the seasonality of the keywords you used, when are people searching for them? And visibility probably doesn't mean what you think it means. Visibility isn't saying your item's not visible, it's just your average daily views. So visibility of 29% means that listing has more average daily views than 29% of listings on Etsy. Whether that's good or bad depends on your shop, really. Obviously, you probably want a bit more, but I use that number just to compare. Basically, I look in my shop, and if I see I have some listings that have a visibility of 80 or 90% and some that have 20%, I'll say, oh, the ones at 80, 90% are doing good for me, and the ones at 20 are doing bad for me. So I have to look at them and see they're the ones I want to pick to work on.
Yeah, we last year there was apparently a coach telling people that they needed to make sure that all their listings had a 100% visibility score. I'm like, that is not how that works.
Yep. That's great. The only way you could do that was if you've got like a massive audience that will go and jump on a listing when you tell them to go and look at it, which is something that potentially a big coach could do. But yeah, it doesn't mean you've got a good listing. It means a ton of people have looked at it. That's all.
Yeah, and that's why, I mean, I've got tons of, little experiments, and I've got a Redbubble store, and we're currently in development of another Etsy shop. And everybody says, like, Starla, why don't you post your links? It's because my audience is huge and everybody is going to go and look, and that's going to throw my stats off because they're just going to want to see what I'm up to. How's she doing her tags and titles? How's she doing her photos? How's she doing this?
Exactly.
So it throws off everything. But yeah, don't obsess over your visibility score, and don't obsess over your grades either. So some of my best selling listings in my first very, very large Etsy shop, I had very poor letter grades. They're all like D's. They were awful, but
they shouldn't be anymore. Your best sellers shouldn't have D's anymore. But we've worked on that. But yes, you can have a terrible seller with a grade A. It just means you know how to fill in the boxes right. It doesn't mean you've picked good keywords or your pictures are good or anything. Not saying, Valerie, we haven't seen your listing, but yeah, the grade A is good. It means you know how to do SEO. Well, you know how to structure your listings in the correct way. But then you still have to work on are the keywords good? Are my listings good? How do they compare to the other kind of listings? Because I could do perfect. I could do absolutely beautiful SEO for a diamond ring, but if I'm trying to sell a felted sculpture, it's not going to sell. It's not even going to rank because that's not what it is.
And Angelia had asked, where do you find the visibility of your listings?
Yeah, visibility would be in, if you go to all listings, listings all, or active, that's the word I'm looking for.
Yep.
Listings active, you'll see all your listings there, or like if you've got a free account, you'll see your most recent 100 listings. But you'll see your listings there, and there's a column for visibility and there's a column for SEO tips. Those are the two columns I look at to try and figure out which listings I want to work on, because the one with the lowest visibility and the highest number of SEO tips says this has got some low-hanging fruit. It's probably got a low grade and nobody's seen it anyway, so I'm not going to break it if I try and fix it.
All right. So we've got 2 more questions. I think that we'll go ahead and prioritize those since we're down to our last 4 minutes, and then we will be signing off. I think is it Yudi? Is there a way to know if my shop is being monitored by another eRank user under the competition tool? There is not, because it's already creepy enough that that people can be monitored, but to also send them an alert, that goes a little too far, because ultimately it's public information, right? The things that we are sharing are public. They could go to your actual storefront and sit and figure that stuff out. They could sit and, basically watch your store, and it would take a lot of time and a lot of work in order to do it, but it is public information that anybody could, if they had enough motivation, they could figure it out. And we've just presented that in an easier way. However, what would violate privacy policies is then for us to share that that person is using the tool to track, because that is not public information. That's something that they've kind of done, privately in order to analyze. So that would not be something that we could share.
Yeah, and like you say, it sounds creepy. But I totally get why you think you would want it, but it really wouldn't help you to know anything apart from the fact that people think your shop's cool, maybe.
Yeah. All right. Last question. Dwight asked, does quantity and constant upload of listings on Etsy increase your sales? Eventually, will your shop kick off one day because of consistent listings? We actually talked about this a little bit, just a little, right before you joined the chat, I assume. No, Etsy says that they like to see activity, but really the way I see it is if I have a book of lottery tickets, and a couple of these lottery tickets are winners, obviously rules of probability are going to be that if I ask you how many of these lottery tickets you want and you take more lottery tickets, you're more likely to win. If you have more listings out in this vast sea of Etsy, yes, it is more likely that those listings might be found in search, but there's a couple things that come with that. There are all these, especially POD coaches, who say, list every day, list tons of listings, thousands of listings. You won't be successful without thousands of listings. There's a couple problems with that. First of all, most Etsy sellers only have 3 or 4 listings that even become bestsellers, and then the rest are just kind of glamorously sitting there as decorations in their shop. They might sell, but they're really, it's normal to only have a few bestsellers. That also means that you're going to be paying for all of those listings. It's going to be harder to track, to analyze, to see what's working, to manage, to make changes. And there's no evidence to say that there's, Etsy's looking for you to list every single day. Etsy likes to see activity. They like to see you, not just abandoning your shop and never going in and updating anything. But it doesn't have to do with some magical frequency that Etsy wants to see listings added to a shop. Some of the most successful shops that I've seen on Etsy, they sell the same exact things, and they've always had the same things listed. They've just got, you know, their primary product line of a few listings, and people come back and buy those items over and over again. It is so much better to have one item that sells all the time, because Etsy is going to show that one item to more people, knowing that this item is very successful. So we want to show it to more people in order to get that listing to make more sales, because you make money and Etsy makes money. But it's way better to have one listing that does well than to have an entire shop full of tons of items that don't do very well. And not to mention, if I go into your shop and you say that, you know, I'm a master craftsman and I hand make all of my products, or I screen print all of my t-shirts by hand, versus a t-shirt shop that has 6,000 listings, I'm going to assume a lot more love and care went into the shop that has less. And I know that that sounds crazy, but it's really about customer perception as well. So the short answer to your question is no.
Yeah, I've seen top selling shops that have 6 listings. You don't need loads. I been just from my shop alone, I heard that advice. I heard the advice that you had to have 100 listings before you could even start making sales and stuff. And I built up listings over time. I think I got to 300, which is a lot because mine are all handmade. It took a long time. But like Starla said, the majority of my sales were coming from a very small number of listings. So I let all those ones that weren't working for me expire, and I went down to 20 listings, and was increased. Not they increased as they probably would have done, you know, but there was no difference. And Etsy isn't ticking off and saying, "Oh, Dwight didn't upload today, so we can't. We've got to drop him out of search." If your listings are doing good and they're the best things to show to people, Etsy will show them to people. If you list 20 times a day and nobody wants to buy your stuff because it's a bit rubbish, it's not going to sell. There's no magic. For everybody, the thing that the algorithm will kick off and love you for is making stuff that people want to buy. That's the only secret, I'm afraid.
Quality over quantity. You know, a lot of the time you see these POD sellers, especially, I always pick on POD. It's digital as well, but it's people who can make products quickly. You know, they don't need to keep inventory in stock. It's, you know, products that you don't have stacked up in your garage. We see those sellers that have thousands and thousands of listings, but then they complain that they're not making sales and their shop is getting expensive, and they're upset because, you know, they're having to still pay Etsy for all of those listings that they have just sitting in their shop. And then they say, oh, well, Etsy just doesn't like me. Etsy's just a crap platform. Etsy isn't actually in support of sellers. No, you've just slapped up as much crap in your shop as quickly as possible, trying to saturate search pages. And that's not what Etsy's all about, because there's a consumer part of it. You know, there are a lot of people who think it's just Etsy and the algorithm, and they forget the fact that a human being has to look at your product and say, this connects with me. This is exactly what I want. And if you are disassociated from your product, which if you've got 6,000 listings in your shop, I know you're not passionate about everything that you make, then it's going to be very, very hard for you to inspire others. If you're not inspired by your product, then it's very unlikely that anybody else is going to be either. So that's my hot take.
Absolutely. We had someone in the Facebook group just the other day. I can't remember your name, and I'm not picking on you, but they had a really lovely shop. They were, I think, a graphic designer type team. They had some fantastic print on demand things, but it was all designed. And then a whole load of stuff that just had random words on, because people had said that words on t-shirts sell well. It's like, no, don't follow those people's advice. You have a lovely shop. You don't need the hundreds of low effort things. Let's see your actual artwork there.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. We only went 4 minutes over. We're sorry, Duthie. We love you.
Sorry.
If you're on YouTube, make sure that you join the eRank group on Facebook by searching just eRank group. on Facebook. And if you want to cut the line and get your questions answered early, or if you can't make it to these live streams and you're watching the replay and you really wish that we were answering your questions right now, every Wednesday in the eRank group, at the very, very tippy top of the group, pinned in our announcements, is a post made by Pam where you can submit questions a day early, and we make sure that we answer those first. But guys, thanks so much for watching, and we will see you next week.